Most people believe scarcity is accidental, that shortages happen because resources run out, systems fail, or planning falls short. But in modern economies, scarcity is rarely the result of absence. It is the result of design. This episode is about the economy that withholds on purpose. Scarcity as a feature. Scarcity is often described as a natural constraint. Too many people, too few resources, not enough time. But when examined closely, many shortages persist even when capacity exists. Housing remains limited despite empty units. Jobs remain scarce despite unmet needs. Credit tightens while liquidity flows elsewhere. This is not inefficiency, it is selection. Scarcity does not merely limit access, it shapes behavior. Why abundance is dangerous? Abundance creates independence. When access is easy and margins are wide, people negotiate. They leave. They refuse unfavorable terms. From a system perspective, abundance weakens leverage. Scarcity does the opposite. It increases compliance. It lowers bargaining power. It encourages patience and restraint. Not because people are calm, but because alternatives feel risky. Scarcity narrows choices without announcing limits. Controlled access. Modern systems rarely deny access outright. Instead, they control the conditions under which access is granted. Requirements expand, standards tighten, waiting periods lengthen. Eligibility becomes complex. These controls appear neutral. They are framed as safeguards or quality measures, but their effect is behavioral. They determine who persists, who delays, and who withdraws quietly. Access becomes a test. How withholding shapes decisions. When something is scarce, people prioritize stability over movement. They accept less favorable terms. They delay exits. They tolerate friction they would otherwise resist. Over time, this reshapes expectations. People stop asking what is possible and begin asking what is permitted. The system does not need to issue commands. Withholding does the work. The hierarchy of supply scarcity is not evenly distributed. Some participants experience it constantly. Others rarely encounter it at all. This difference is structural. Those closer to distribution receive abundance first. Those further away experience constraint. Scarcity flows downward, cushion flows upward. The system remains stable because pressure is absorbed asymmetrically. Why relief is temporary. When scarcity becomes too visible, relief is introduced. Temporary expansions, short-term support, narrow exceptions. These interventions reduce pressure without altering structure. Relief restores trust. It signals responsiveness, but it is calibrated carefully. Enough to stabilize behavior, not enough to dissolve dependency. Scarcity returns once alignment is restored, the psychological effect of waiting. Waiting changes perception. Time spent waiting increases tolerance for unfavorable outcomes. The longer someone waits, the more likely they are to accept what arrives. This effect is well understood. It is why queues exist even when systems could move faster. Waiting filters desire. Only those willing to endure delay remain. Scarcity is reinforced through patience. Why people defend the system. Once people adapt to scarcity, they often defend it. It justifies the effort they have already invested. It explains why alternatives were abandoned. Scarcity becomes proof of value. This is not denial, it is rationalization. The system benefits because adaptation converts constraint into belief. Who never feels the shortage? At the top of the hierarchy, scarcity looks different. Constraints are navigated rather than endured. Access is negotiated privately. Delays are inconvenient, not limiting. This separation is critical. It ensures scarcity disciplines behavior without threatening the system itself. Pressure is applied where compliance is needed, not where control resides. This separation is essential to system stability. If scarcity reached those who set conditions, it would provoke restructuring. Instead, it is directed downward, where adaptation reinforces compliance rather than resistance. The system remains intact because pressure is absorbed asymmetrically. Scarcity succeeds because it disciplines without threatening the structure that produces it. The pattern repeats. Scarcity appears across sectors, cycles, and generations. Not because it is inevitable, but because it is useful. It stabilizes systems without force. It shapes decisions without instruction. Once seen, the pattern is unmistakable. Scarcity is not a failure state, it is an operating condition. What changes when you see it? Recognizing design scarcity does not eliminate it, but it reframes experience. Frustration becomes information. Delay becomes signal. Constraint becomes communicative rather than personal. The system feels less arbitrary once its logic is understood. The quiet discipline. The invisible economy does not rely on punishment. It relies on absence. It withholds just enough to guide behavior while preserving legitimacy. This is another layer of the system, one that never announces itself, never explains its rules, and never apologizes for its outcomes. The economy does not run out. It withholds, and it does so very carefully.